I'm State Representative Jason Hughes from the great state of Louisiana, representing House District 100 in New Orleans. But most importantly, I'm a proud alum of NAF from the McDonough 35 Senior High School Academy of Finance class of 2000. I'm certainly thrilled to be here today. Students are truly at the center of everything that we do here at NAF. And when it comes to access to opportunity, their voice is absolutely critical to making that possible. It is with great pleasure that I welcome three amazing NAF students to share their perspective on what equity and access means to them. Joining me this morning as a part of this conversation as our panelists, first of all, Elron DeMello. He is a student at Pathways Academy of Technology and Design in Hartford, Connecticut. Miss Elizabeth Senda, who is a student at the Medical Education and Research Academy at McLean High School in Fresno, California. And finally, Miss Anijah Brennan, who is a student at Coolidge High School Academy of Health Sciences in Washington, D.C. Good morning, Elron. Good morning, Elizabeth. And good morning, Anijah. So great for you all to join us this morning. Elron, I'm going to start with you. With the first question. Through your NAF Academy, what kind of activities have you participated in where you learned about your career options?
So I went to a NAF Academy of Information Technology, and because of that, I had a lot of opportunities to learn about my career options. My school had things like job shadows. We were able to go to a lot of local businesses, both small and large, and learn about the different career opportunities that they had, follow employees, and learn about their facilities and things like that. I also had different NAF IT classes. I took multiple different programming classes, robotics and automation, just to name a few. And I've also participated in 3 different paid internships. And these opportunities have really helped me discover what I want to do with my future.
Elizabeth, I'm going to go to you next. Through your NAF Academy, what kinds of activities have you participated in where you learned about your career options?
So at my school, we actually also had a similar experience like Aaron just discussed, but we also had paid internships where we actually got introduced to these work-based learnings and experiences at a very young time. I started as soon as my freshman year. I got to actually do some job shadowing. We actually practiced interviews, so I feel like that really prepared me for my interviews that I had to actually get a job, and I'm actually really thankful for that.
Awesome. So, Elizabeth, I'm going to stick with you. Given these experiences that you've received, how have these experiences helped to shape your vision for the future?
These experiences have honestly really opened my eyes to all of my opportunities, especially the internships that I'm actually applying for right now. I feel like these experiences definitely made me feel like I had a part in all of this and I feel like I found where I belong. Especially in the internships, I actually got to do such things like hand-based learning. It's not really like the traditional setting. So I actually got hands-on experiences and I actually got to see what it's like working in the workforce and in the medical field.
That's awesome. Elron, I'm going to go back to you. How have your experiences helped to shape your vision for the future?
So my internship experiences have been very valuable to me. I'm currently participating in a NAF Future Ready Lab with Pratt & Whitney, which is the Raytheon Technologies subsidiary. And through that, I've been able to interact with engineers, which is the field that I want to go into. I've been able to experience what they do on a day-to-day basis, which has really helped me.
Awesome. So, Elron, I'm going to stick with you for just a moment. What's different from your academy than other programs that may exist at your school?
So my school's a little bit different. My school is wall-to-wall NAF. The entire school is a NAF academy. But just comparing it to some of my friends who didn't go to a NAF school, I think the number one thing is industry experience. Being able to interact with companies in the area who could give you a job in the future, and then going through classes that teach you real IT things, different programming languages, robotics, things like that, was really the biggest difference.
Awesome. And so, Elizabeth, now I'm going to go back to you, my friend. What's different from your academy than other programs that exist at your school?
Like I said, also I wanted to add on to what Aaron was saying. I have a similar experience. Some of my friends that did not actually go to my school, they had told me, "Oh, you're not going to get the experience. You're not going to get the medical experience or the clinical experience." But honestly, I could say that I really did. And compared to some of those other schools, I actually got internship opportunities and hands on opportunities. I got a lot of certifications this year. And I'm actually involved in a college course where I actually get to learn medical terminology. And I know these classes and courses aren't offered at other schools. So that's the difference.
Awesome. So, Elizabeth, I'm going to stick to you on this very next question. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are at the forefront of the conversation in building our future workforce. Many companies have developed practices to support this work. How has this focus impacted you?
Honestly, being in the medical field and wanting to pursue a future career in the medical field, I've also obviously done some research on companies that have actually promoted this diversity and inclusion in their workplace. And a company that I actually researched about was Kaiser Permanente. I would actually love to work there in the future. And I've seen how much they promote this inclusion and make all of not only their patients, but their employees feel welcome and feel like they're not going to be discriminated against in any way in the workplace. And I feel like that's honestly a place for me. I would feel safe. And I think it's a great thing that everybody feels included and they don't feel like they don't belong or because of their skin color that they can't pursue these careers of theirs. And I feel like that's very important, especially in the workplace, and that being introduced at a very early time.
Awesome. Thank you. Elron, I'm going to go back to you on this exact same question. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are at the forefront of the conversation in building our future workforce. Many companies have developed practices to support this work. How has this focus impacted you?
So I think that companies having these initiatives in their hiring is incredibly beneficial, but especially in internships at the high school level. I think giving students who might not have otherwise had the opportunity to get industry experience, make sure that these initiatives have really long-term and generational impacts. I think this ensures that these companies have voices from all different walks of life.
Awesome. So I'm going to go back to Anaja for a second. Anaja, through your NAF Academy, what kinds of activities have you participated in where you learned about your career options?
Well, when we started our outdoor learning program, we had Mr. Gabe, who's a DC native and also an educator in the city. And he came in and just told us a little bit about what he does. And now he's more into like musical production. If you're familiar with the show The Boondocks, he usually raps all the songs in that show. So he told us about that and just other career things that he's done. So it really like helped inspire a lot of us.
Great. And Naja, I'm going to stick with you for a second. How have these experiences that you received at your NAF Academy, how have they helped to shape your vision for the future?
Well, I want to get into marketing and communications. I'm not sure which area in that I want to go into, but being in a mass media academy and learning about like how the newsroom is run, how to do interviews, photography, videography, it's put me ahead because now I know all these things and love it. And there's so much exposure that comes with being in an academy. Now we have an IG page and we have a YouTube page, so our work is out there, and now, we're able to be known and exposed.
Awesome. You're doing so great. I'm going to stick with you again. So what's different from your academy than other programs at your school?
Well, we're the only NAF Mass Media Academy in DC, and we're the only ones who have a state-of-the-art studio, so that's been really great.
Okay. Awesome. And when you think about Anaja, diversity, equity, and inclusion are at the forefront of the conversation in building our future workforce, many companies have developed practices to support this work. How has this focus impacted you personally?
Well, I think it's helpful because being from the Black and Brown community, our voices are finally being heard, and we're doing things that we will only see being done in suburban areas, on the TV in suburban schools. But now we're able to have that ourselves, and we're able to showcase our skills that we have that we didn't know that we had, and we're able to showcase skills that we had and just didn't have an outlet to show these skills. So that's been really great.
Awesome. Well, Elizabeth, I'm going to go back to you, my friend. As you all know, we're still in the middle of a global pandemic, but I think we're finally starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel. But this past school year was unlike any that any of us have seen in our lifetimes. And the three of you uh, literally lived it as students in a very different way. at the forefront, as classes continued, was remote learning. So, what aspects of remote learning would you like to see continue even after you return to an in person schedule?
Some things I would like to see would be the acceleration in these internships and these opportunities, and then being evenly distributed throughout schools, throughout areas, especially the area that I live in. You don't really see a lot of these opportunities, and I feel like these students should be given hope and feel like them too could be heard. So, by accelerating these opportunities and these internships, we can honestly make sure that all the students feel safe and all the students feel like their voice is heard and they could all achieve something and just be given the opportunity. I feel like that's really important and should continue.
Great. And on a personal level, I mean, what was your experience with remote learning this past school year? How did you make out? Did you enjoy it? Just give me your candid, honest thoughts on it.
My personal experience wasn't the best because I feel like I did better in person. However, online, I did become more confident and I did speak a lot more. So I feel like now going back to school, shifting back to that traditional setting and being in person and seeing people face to face, I'll actually be more confident talking to them. As before, I wouldn't really talk to you unless you talk to me. But I feel like that really changed now.
Awesome. And Naja, back to you, my friend. What aspects of remote learning would you like to see continue even after you return to an in person schedule?
Even though the pandemic was hard for everyone and the mass media class was worth a grade, it didn't really feel like a class. It was a lot of me and my classmates' like favorite class to go to because we learned about fun things, the video editing, the photography, but we also learned about real world things like taxes, stock, and just other different things about our career and future. So I would really like to keep up with learning about like stuff that we're actually going to need outside of school.
And just in general, give us your thoughts on a personal level. How was your experience over the past school year with remote learning?
It was pretty good. I actually did better with remote learning than I did in school because it wasn't as many distractions and my schedule was pretty flexible. I was very ahead because I just like go ahead, in the traditional setting you have to go, it's the pace of the class. So at home was much better.
Great. Elron, what aspects of remote learning would you like to see continue even after we return to an in person schedule?
So I really did think long and hard about this question. And really, outside of the thing that Elizabeth brought up with internships being able to be virtual, I really could not think of anything. I truly did not like remote learning. I hated it, to be honest with you. There were just being virtual, not having that face-to-face interaction with teachers, with your fellow students. It really had an impact on my mental health, frankly. Just not being able to just talk to people. I, I I really don't want to see any of remote learning come back. I'm really looking forward to going back to a semi-regular school year.
Yeah, well, look, I understand and I appreciate your candor. And before I go to the next question, I just want to really acknowledge not only the three of you, but all of your classmates for the extraordinary resiliency that each of you have shown over this last school year. It was not easy on you all as students, but you continue to succeed and you did it well. And really, you've inspired not only me, but so many of us, your teachers, your families, in the community at large. So I want to say kudos to each of you for hanging in there and for staying the course. Elizabeth, I'm going to start with you on my next question. I'm not only a policymaker, but I'm also an alum. We have educators listening in, we have business leaders listening in, we have so many people listening in to this student panel. And so this is one of the most important questions that I can ask. What do you want educators, policymakers, and business partners to know to help support your journey to future success?
Honestly, what I would like to say is continue spreading these work-based learnings to these students as soon as possible. I feel like that's honestly what has prepared me the most to where I am today and actually being ready for a future job and actually getting out there into the real world. This has actually really prepared me. So I feel like this is something that should continue. And I feel like they should know that it's actually having an impact on these students and it's actually having fast results. So I think that's really important and we should continue that. And I would like to see a lot more of it, a lot more opportunities, internships, job shadowings, all of these things that really had a great effect on all of these students' career paths.
Great. Elrod, talk to me as a policymaker and talk to all of our listening audience today. What do you want your educators, policymakers, and business partners to know to help support your journey to future success?
So I really think that connecting students to real world opportunities is something that has been incredibly beneficial to me. I think showing students the opportunities that they have that they could possibly achieve, and then actually allowing them to experience those things through internships and work-based learning is very valuable, and it really has been to me.
Anaja, same question to you, my friend. What do you want our educators, our policymakers, our business partners to know to help support your journey to future success?
Well, even though the Mass Media Academy is great and I've learned so much there, I feel as though there are some things that can be added to make the experience greater and more mentorships and internships during the school year and summer instead of just senior year in the academy. Because having outside resources are great, and being able to intern with someone like in our dream job, dream profession, I feel like will help a lot of us starting young from freshman year and sophomore year to know like exactly where we want to go when we finish high school, and also being like having scholarships, partial or full, waiting for us at the end of the academy. Because even though we're taking 2 years to learn all this great stuff in our academies, at the end, when we graduate, we have nowhere to go because all of us, and I do mean all, we cannot afford to go to college or to go to a post-secondary school. So having that there for us, so we'll be able to like learn and like get money to go and develop these skills in another school and college, I think that would be really great, because if you don't go and you just did this for 2 years, it kind of seems like a waste of time. So that would be great to have.
Great. Well, staying on this theme for just a moment, we're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, but I really want to focus on the inclusion piece because when we talk about inclusion, that's really multifaceted. And as you're talking openly right now to educators, policymakers, and business leaders, one thing that I saw not only as a student, but that I continue to see firsthand as a policymaker. You know, often we are proposing policies that directly impact students. And at the table, we have a wide range of stakeholders, but too often I feel like students are missing from the conversation. I just want to get your perspectives. Do you feel like you're being included enough in conversations around policies and practices that impact you? And if not, what advice would you give to our business leaders, your educators, and policymakers like me to ensure students are being included and that your voice is a part of these discussions? Elron, I'd love to start with you and hear your thoughts around that.
I think COVID was really the best example I have of this, of like students' voices really not being heard. My school district did some things that pretty much most students just did not support, didn't like, and just policies that did not make sense. So I think including student voices there would just be really beneficial. It would help all of us get a better outcome.
Elizabeth, what's your thoughts about students being included not only in policy discussions but within the business community, within your own school? Do you feel like students are being included enough? If not, what advice would you give to our business leaders, policymakers, and educators?
Me personally, I did feel included because at my school we actually have these ambassadors that attend these district meetings, but I feel like it wasn't the whole district that had these in their schools. So we actually changed that this year. We made a rule where all the schools are going to have these ambassadors now and they attend these daily meetings or monthly meetings. And I feel like that should actually be included everywhere so that all the students feel like they had a voice. Not necessarily every single student has to attend these meetings. However, have students that are representing their voice, or they know they're being heard, or they know that they could go to a student. Because sometimes a student doesn't want to go straight to these business makers because they feel like they're not going to be heard or not feel comfortable. So sometimes having a student voice or having somebody that they could talk to comfortably, and then have this person go to these meetings and talk to these business makers and people, that it could just have a better effect and just work more efficiently in the future.
Great. And Naja, what's your thoughts, my friend, around as we talk about inclusion, particularly from a student perspective? Do you feel that students have been included, have been at the table, that the student voice is being heard with respect to policy making within our business community and within our education community?
Not really. I feel like it could definitely be used. I mean, our voices should be heard more because there's been so many times when I've like heard about changes being made, and I'm just like, that's so dumb. Like, why would they do that? But and that's because like a student probably wasn't there to like voice their opinions because a lot of us we really think the same. So if I say something, I'm almost sure that like my 10 other classmates will agree, rather than having an adult tell us like what the decision is because like we're completely different. So yeah, I do feel like student voices should be heard more, so it would make like the whole experience even better.
So we are nearing the end of our panel, but just want to ask a couple last questions. Elizabeth, I'm going to start with you. Each of you are embarking on the next phase of not only your educational journey, but your career journey. Do you feel better prepared today to tackle the next phase of your educational and career journey because of your NAF experience? Do you feel less prepared? How do you feel? And talk to us open and honestly. How has your NAF experience impacted your next steps?
Honestly, yes, I feel better prepared. As a freshman, honestly, I would say no. But further on with the years, I have gotten more opportunities and more internships and these college courses that I've taken that have prepared me. They have taught me they have taught me such things as work handling and just ethic problems and everything that's going to happen in the workplace, so that I know how to better handle the situation when I'm actually in the workplace. So just having these examples, yes, I feel like has prepared me, and I do feel ready for my future career.
And Aja, how has your NAF experience impacted your educational and career journey? Do you feel better prepared for the next steps in your educational and career journey?
Yeah, I do feel better prepared. Like at first, I used to want to do like a whole bunch of things. Like if you asked me what I wanted a year ago, I would have said I wanted to be a firefighter. But now it's completely different than what I wanted to do at first. So I do feel like it has been an academy has like kind of narrowed what I wanted to. So it and just from like hearing all the opportunities that we have and having guest speakers come in and talk to us, it definitely has helped me to like know what I want to do and like what area I want to go in.
Great. Elron, you're close to the next steps in your educational and career journey. Talk to me very honestly and candidly. Do you feel better prepared today for the next phase in your educational and career journey because of NAF? Do you feel less prepared? How has NAF impacted this career journey for you?
So I really do feel more prepared. This fall, I'll be going to college pursuing a major in biomedical engineering, and that is really largely due to my experiences in my NAF Academy. I've been able to take a bunch of different college level classes, and because of all of those classes, I'll be going in as like almost a sophomore in college. Um, just especially the internship experience I've had with engineering companies has really helped me as well narrow down that selection of my major.
Great. So, my final question to each of you as an alum, this year I am celebrating my 21st year as a NAF alum and have contributed 21 years of continuous services to the National Academy Foundation because it has had such a profound impact on my life. And looking forward to passing the torch to the next generation of leadership, and the three of you are great examples of that. I'm so excited to see what's going to happen for you all next. So 10 years from now, where will you be? What will you be doing? Proclaim it now. Let the NAF world know. Let them hear it from you first. So Elizabeth, 10 years from now, where will you be? What will you be doing?
10 years from now seems like a very long time, but honestly, I've had such a passion for the medical field and just helping out and being a part of my community. So that's definitely where I see myself. And I feel like I'm going to work very hard to get there. And I honestly believe that in 10 years, I will be working in a hospital or somewhere in a clinic or something. Helping people is definitely where I see myself.
It does seem like a long time, but it will be here before you know it. Elron, let us know, where will you be in 10 years?
10 years from now, I'll probably be graduated with a bachelor's in biomedical engineering and a master's in something else undecided. And then hopefully be working at a company researching the next big thing in biomedical engineering and biomedical technology.
Not probably. Proclaim it. I proclaimed that in 2016 I would be in public office. It didn't happen until 2019, but it did happen. So I have faith in you. And Nigel, my friend, 10 years from now, what will you be doing? Where will you be?
10 years? That's so hard. I don't know why you asked me this question because I don't know. Okay, so I would just say like in 10 years, I will be interviewing people because I already have interview experience now and I really love it. So I'll probably be like the next Oprah Winfrey or something, interviewing people. It's like, I don't know. I really don't. I just hope I do something like nice and great.
Not probably. We're going to proclaim it. I'm actually in Nashville as we speak. It is the home of Tennessee State University, which is Oprah Winfrey's alma mater. So I feel that energy. I think you will be the next Oprah Winfrey. That will conclude the end of our panel. I really want to thank you, Elron, you, Elizabeth, and you, Anaja, for your extraordinary input and for your perspectives today. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. Quite frankly, your voices have been heard and will certainly be a driving force in moving us forward. And I want to thank each and every attendee for attending the session with us this morning. We certainly hope you'll join us for this afternoon's learning sessions, many of which will follow the same vein of thought, including our industry trend session. So we certainly hope to see you then. And to all of our attendees, please be reminded today is the last day to vote for your fan favorites in the Lenovo app scholarship competition. Your votes are critically important. Your voices need to be heard. So please, please, please vote, weigh in. Again, thank you so much for joining us today to hear our student panel. Thank you for joining our NAF Next conference this year. Certainly hope to see you again next year. So for Elron, Elizabeth, and Naja, and all of us here at the NAF family, hope you have a great day and hope to see you soon.